We spend a lot of time talking about whether people can afford to have kids. Housing, education, childcare, all of that. And of course, those things matter. But lately, I kept thinking that maybe the bigger question is not just whether people can afford a child. Maybe the bigger question is whether they can have the invisible conditions it takes to raise one well. Because a child is not only raised by money, food, and a roof. A child is also shaped by the way the parents speak, the way they react, the way they handle pressure, and the kind of feeling they bring into a room every day. And to me, the most important invisible conditions of parenthood is emotional stability. Everybody has bad days. People get exhausted, stressed, and weighed down by things they can't shake off. Now put a child in that picture. Sometimes it is not even a big mistake, it is something really, really small. A child spills a cup of water, forgets something, ask one more question when the parent is already tired, and suddenly, the reaction is much bigger than the moment itself. The voice gets sharper, the whole room tightens, and the child can feel it immediately. What stay with the child is not just maybe I should be more careful next time. What stay with them is something much deeper than that. It is the feeling that small things can suddenly become dangerous when the adult is in the wrong state. So little by little, the child stops living naturally. They start monitoring, they start checking the mood first. They start learning that before they speak, before they ask, before they can make any mistake, they need to figure out what kind of emotional weather they are walking into. And that can have a negative impact on a person over time. It can make them overly sensitive to other people's moods. It can make them afraid of making normal mistakes. It can make them shrink themselves without even realizing it. And over time, that child becomes someone who's constantly managing other people's emotion before their own. In friendships, in relationships, at work, always scanning, always adjusting, always making themselves smaller to keep things calm. That pattern can follow them for decades, and I think that can damage something even deeper than that. It can damage confidence, real confidence, because confidence is not a small thing in a person's life. It shapes how you speak, how you choose, how you recover, and how far you believe you're allowed to go. If a child grows up always reading the room, always trying not to upset anyone, always feeling that safety depends on not getting it wrong, then confidence does not grow naturally. What grows instead is caution, hyper-awareness, self-doubt, and that changes the course of a life in a very concrete way. A confident person walks in the room and thinks, I have something to contribute. A person who grew up like this often walks into the same room thinking, I need to be more careful not to say the wrong thing. A confident person makes a mistake and thinks, well, that was not great, but I can fix it. A person who grew up like this can make the same mistake and feel it in a much harsher way. It stops being just, I got this wrong, and start becoming maybe there is something wrong with me. A confident person can ask for an opportunity, negotiate, speak up, take up space, and survive being disliked. A person who never built that confidence may stay quiet, hesitate, over-prepare, overthink, and talk themselves out of things they were fully capable of doing. So this is why I think emotional stability is not just a bonus in parenting. It may be the single most important invisible condition of becoming a parent. Because when a child grows up around emotional stability, the damage is not always loud. It sometimes looks like carefulness. It sometimes looks like maturity. It sometimes looks like strength. But underneath that, there can be a person who has learned to dull themselves, shrink themselves, and monitor everyone else before they even know how to trust their own mind. And that can really potentially shape an entire life. So, what do you think? Do you think you are an emotionally stable person? And if you want children one day, do you think you could become an emotionally stable parent? So, please leave your comment down below. If you like my content, please like, share, subscribe. This could help me a lot, and I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in my next one.